Hey folks, it's May 13th, 2020. The markets are closed right now. And let's start with what I expect from here on. Obviously, I have looked at all the models and the cycles from here on. So this is kind of the lowdown on what the expectation for rest of the week is. And we'll lay out the caveats as well. So we expected the lowest hourly close to be around 1 p.m. and the final hour low obviously is higher than these lows. I do believe we hit the bottom based on what I'm seeing on cycles and on the price models, but there's a few caveats which the older folks who've been with me will understand, and I'll lay those out. So, simply speaking, I think my best estimate based on the cycles, remaining cycles for the week is we move higher into roughly 7 p.m. This evening, and then there should be an aggressive retest of the lows into 9:30 p.m. Eastern. It could be a secondary low or at a very low probability, a lower low before we move up. And just in case we hit a lower low, we will not get this kind of a recovery. I think in that case, we'll be limited to 2880 on the ES rest of the week. But my expectation is that we should end up getting this kind of a recovery, given that we're sitting on one of the most crucial CITs for the year in this year, 2020. So obviously, we declined into it. This was precisely the fall I expected on last Friday. We expected it from here, um, and the length of the fall was very similar, or in essence, the base was 2780 to 2800, and this 11 a.m. low over here kind of fooled us. This is the only leg that fooled us. And then in hindsight, I could have waited for May 13th to see if that decline actually does pan out. We knew about the CIT. We knew about, even from this week, that we have a low overnight somewhere around here, which kind of was a temporary low for a good shoot up for almost 50 ES. But then we got this inverted wave lower into intraday. In the end, when you know the bar is 513, it's wise to wait for either the closing hour of the RTH or during the evening hours when the next bar starts. So kind of the next bar starts in another hour. So at any rate, so up into 7 p.m., down into 9:30, and then tomorrow we should have gapped higher. This will clarify, um, the strength of the up move that we're expecting into end of May, beginning of June. So that's that. On this unified model, we pierce through the low pivots line. And anytime that happens, we basically at the least will shoot up into the midline. And in this case, I expect that we go to the high pivot line as well because I'm expecting 513 to be a major low. So, pay attention to the 0.382 and 0.618. We cleared 2822 already. So we should be hitting 2841, subsequently 2872. Once this prints, obviously we have hit a major bottom. So that's kind of the confirmation. Roughly on the ES, I expect once again, if you recall from, as we had on the last week, 2863 to be a major pivot. Okay, so now let's look at the reasons why I expect that we hit a bottom. Obviously, the week came in positive, so which basically gives markets maximum downside from a time perspective into Wednesday. Today is Wednesday, and the profile of the weekly being positive says that the week end should be positive and we should have recovered out any fall we have into Wednesday. Uh, the other thing is, if you look at the intraday balance point for the afternoon, it was 2817.94, and we managed to close above it, rejecting this late afternoon decline in the final hour. So, which basically says the hourlies are starting to turn up. I get the same answer on the strategy grid. The hourlies are turning up. They suggest we will hit 2826.64. I don't know what we hit so far. 25.9. So once we clear this, if you look at it, the barrier is 2863. Once we clear 2826.64, that's cash equivalent. We will hit 2863.03. And in essence, the waves are large because the volatility is high. VIX closed at 35.45 or 5, something like that. And if you look at it, hourly turning positive is pointing to market moving into the daily wave pivot at 2917.52. That's where I'm drawing this. And obviously, look at the intermediate pivots for the market to make it up to this point. Rest of it is cycles conjecture for now. Don't get hung up on the values right now. We'll recalculate those for Friday. I'm just showing this into what happens into Friday. Again, cycle should be up into, I would say, 3, 4 a.m. Tomorrow morning. So this is more like 3 or 4 a.m. So it's kind of a straight shot, kind of unbelievable, but that's what I'm getting. And from there, we get a decline into 1010 and then resume the trend upwards on the cycles. So same thing here, high into 7 p.m., invert lower into 9:30, because that's where the daily actually turns up. So there could be a quick fall once we've risen a little bit into the evening into 9:30. And then I think 9:30 is where market should pick up strength, uh, to the upside as I'm seeing on the cycles. So I expect a full recovery and no backing down for the week, for rest of the week. Um, and let's see how it pans out. It should be pretty obvious. But when we watch the evening action this evening. All right, so good luck. That's the story, and use this as the stop to maintain your longs. And once 9:30 is gone, you can choose the lows of the evening to follow the market higher. If if we start to break the low and stay down, something is wrong with the analysis and interpretation of the cycles. So at that point, I would just step aside until let's just say tomorrow's open, and then we'll see where we're at. Good luck.